Cindy and Jim here from OUTAPocket, and today we're installing our spare tire on our Solis Pocket.
As you can see, it's still full-on winter here in the Northeast. It snowed yesterday, there's a nor'easter coming tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're squeezing this in. We're going to do this tire change outside in the snow, 32 degrees, to simulate real-world conditions that we might encounter out in the field.
Now, as you know, the Pocket doesn't come with a spare tire, and that made us uncomfortable. In a previous video, we installed a spare tire and the mechanism to support it underneath the back end of the Pocket. You may want to check it out.
Now, we've changed spare tires before, swapped tires and rims. We do it with our plow truck every season, but we've never changed the tire on this vehicle. So we want to go through the whole process. That way we will be prepared, and you can be prepared in case we ever have to do this in an emergency.
In this video, we're going to go over the equipment that comes standard in the Pocket for changing tires and a few additional items that we have come across that we think are going to make this process go a lot smoother. We're actually going to change the tire itself, although full disclosure, we're putting the good tire right back on. I don't want to put the spare on and drive around on it. And
I'm very interested to check on the situation we found when we installed the spare tire, which was, does it rub against those two Winnebago bolts that are underneath the chassis? So we're going to check on the status of that, see if there's any rubbing. If there's a problem there, we might have to cut those bolts off while we have the spare tire off today.
so we have a few things to go over. Let's get to it.
Let's do it.
These are the parts that come standard on the Pocket for changing a tire. You have the tire jack, and you have this is used to remove the lug nuts as well as to adhere here, a little handle here, and you use it to raise the jack. You also have this. This isn't used to inflate a tire. This is for when you have to tow, so you won't be using that. And it comes with an inflator for the tire that you're going to be putting on. But we have some additional other fun items that might help a lot.
The extra things that we have first are this device here. This was part of our installation of the spare tire. It's used to lower the spare tire in the back. And then to make changing the tire itself easier, we have an extendable lug nut tool. So we're not going to use that to try to free those lug nuts. This one extends, gives you more leverage. We have these tire holders. So when you're trying to put the new tire on, those should allow you to hold the tire up there. We have an inflation gauge so we can check the pressure on the new tire real quick. And we have this tool that removes these black clips that we put on our tire. Now you may have noticed we've also spread all these out onto a tarp. A tarp is one of the things we recommend you carry around on the Pocket. This is one good place where there's a use for it.
One additional item we've added to the Pocket are traction boards, and we're going to use one of the traction boards to provide a stable, safe surface to position the jack underneath the Pocket. Sometimes you're going to be on sand, you could be on snow like us today, and you're going to need a stable surface to position the jack for your safety and for the Pocket's safety.
Before we start any tire changing, we have to set the emergency brake on the van, which is right there. You can hear it engage. It's also recommended to brace the opposite tire that you're changing. We're going to be changing the passenger rear just to make it easier today. I have these at home. I'm going to use them. If you're out in the field, you might want to look for a log, a rock, something like that to brace the tire opposite, which in this case, for us, will be the driver's side front. There we go. Now we're ready to get started. We are going to change the tire in the back today just to keep things simple. But if you do have to change the front tire, there's the jack point for the front. Now this jack has this little nubbin on the top of it. That's meant to be inserted into a hole in the bottom of the jack point. The front jack point is right behind the wheel well, right there. The rear jack point is right at the front end of the leaf springs here. It's right in there. So that's where we're going to position the jack to go into that hole at the bottom of that spot.
The traction board has an area right here to support the jack. It's the right size, keeps it level, and provides a nice, stable, unyielding surface from which to jack up the van. I'm going to start raising this so that I can align the little nubbin with the hole in the jack point using this tool that did come with the Pocket. And, oh look, I can do this by hand in the beginning. Much easier. Yeah, I'm off. And in it goes.
With the jack in position, there are two things we need to do before we start to lift the vehicle. If you've seen our upgrade videos, you may know we have these caps. So I have to take those off to access the lug nuts underneath. The next thing is to loosen these lug nuts up before we raise the vehicle up off the ground, so you won't be cranking so hard with the vehicle in the air. We're going to start with the tool that came with the van, and let's see how hard it is with that tool, then we'll switch to the extended tool.
Somehow I knew I'd be the one doing this. All right, it takes 145 foot-pounds of torque to loosen these lug nuts, which is a lot. I'm going to start off using the tools that come standard in the pocket.
You can do it.
I'm sliding. I can't even begin it. This isn't working. Ah!
You got it.
I got it.
Good job.
Now I'm going to use this new tool with a longer handle to see if it made the process a little easier. This is a 13/16 and 7/8 socket, double-sided. We're going to use the 13/16 to loosen this up. Goes right inside. All right. Oh my gosh, yeah. Look at that.
Wow.
And then you just can finger loosen it up. Works great.
We've also decided, while the vehicle is still on the ground, to drop the spare tire and pull that out. We decided to do this just to minimize the number of things we try to do while the vehicle is up on the jack and potentially a little bit out of balance. So to do that, I need these same pieces again and this little bar that fits into the spare tire system. You really have to loosen up that cable a lot. Hopefully I have enough to pull this out. There we go. Now I want to just see and check for wear. I don't see any issue from those bolts here. It's just a little bit of grease, maybe undercoating. The bolts should have been hitting the tire right here. I don't see anything. So I would say we're good. I'll stick my hand under there later and double check, but looks like we're good.
Now that the spare tire is out, it's time to jack the pocket up until the rear tire is about 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch off of the ground. This might take a little while. Oh, I do. It's off the ground.
Okay, is it 1/4 to 1/2 inch or so?
Do you count all the ridges with the snow? It's about 1/4 of an inch off of the ridges of the snow.
Okay.
So I think we're all set. Now to remove the lug nuts all the way. Lefty loosey. And yeah, that's really how I remember it. All right, Jim just told me that there is supposed to be a little nubbin that keeps this thing attached, and when I remove the last bolt, it's possible it's going to fall off, so I'm ready. I'm also nervous now. Let's see what happens. It's off. I guess we just take it off. And off it goes. Awesome. And now we're ready. These are the little nubbins that do help you position the tire when you're putting it back on. But as you can see, they're really quite short. We got these wheel hangers that are much longer, and we're going to insert them into the holes where the lug nuts would go. And then when we mount the tire, our idea is that it's going to help to guide the tire in so that the lug nuts line up straight and aren't a little cockeyed, which can happen sometimes when you're mounting a tire. And the tires are heavy, so this should help too. You won't have to hold it up the whole time.
Now, what I've found before is that you kind of sit under it, you can lift it up like that. Okay, there was a big lesson learned on this. This is a different rim from the ones that came on it. This is a steel rim. And those two nubbins that Cindy pointed out, they have to go in the holes here that have the little band around them. The first time I mounted it, if you rewind a little bit, you'll see it was heading toward a hole without this, and it didn't line up. So I pulled it off, I rotated it so that those two nubbins would line up. There you see, right there and right there, to those holes with the little rim on them. So that's critical when you're mounting the spare, it appears, when you have a rim like this. These things help a lot, actually. I really would not have wanted to try to line those up without those little helpers. Now these can come out. The last one's go in. Now that those lug nuts are finger tight, just want to turn this a little bit to firm it up. You don't want to fully tighten it until you lower the vehicle to the ground. Just want them snug and firm.
Now that the lug nuts are firm, it's time to lower the jack and bring the van back down to the ground.
Now the vehicle is back on the ground. You need to do the final tightening of these. It's recommended to do 2 rounds. Now you probably won't have a torque wrench to get back to 145 foot-pounds. So you really want to go, pretty tight. I don't want to say absolutely as tight as you possibly could, but not far from it. So do 2 rounds all the way around. Before you think about going anywhere, you need to check the tire pressure of your spare tire and make sure it's safe to drive on the road. I carry this little higher quality tire pressure gauge to make that faster and easier. I'm at about 74. That should be fine. If you're between maybe 70 and 84, you're probably fine. If you're under 70, you need to add air to your tire. This is the inflator that comes with the pocket. Don't use this. This is a tube that's meant to squirt sealant inside your tire and seal a hole. We're not working on that today. You'd want to use the inflator, which is this one right here. And then that uses the cigarette lighter adapter, and you can use this to add air if needed. Looks like we're good to go. Here's our flat tire. It's much easier if you can just to put this into the cargo area of the van so you can go get it repaired. Or you can obviously put it back under where the spare tire was. In either case, remember to crank that all the way back up. You can crank that spare tire carrier all the way to the top without a tire on it, and it will travel just fine. I crawled under here to check on those bolts. There was no visible wear on the tire, so it's probably okay, but if I reach up and touch those 2 bolts, the foam is compressed right to the end of the bolt. I'll say there's a little bit of a sharp thing I can feel with my thumb. So I guess it's your call if you want to cut those off or if you want to just go for it. I think I'm inclined for now to go for it. I'll just probably check on it again in another year or something like that Make sure there isn't a problem. That went great.
It was much more straightforward than I was afraid it was going to be.
Whole process, lowering the tire down, changing the jack, everything went really smooth.
It really did. And those additional items that we got, the hanging
Wheel hangers.
I always forget the name of those things. And the extendable arm that gives me more torque when I'm trying to loosen up the lug nuts work great.
The wheel hangers, I would not want to get that thing up there without the wheel hangers, having done it now.
Yeah.
And then we had the traction board that we slid underneath to give us a nice base. If we had gravel or soft sand, you really need a firm thing like that
I
under there.
agree. And it gives me a little extra height when I'm trying to raise the jack so I don't have to go quite as far.
And as far as those Winnebago bolts that stick down, come really close to the tire, you know, I guess if you're doing it fresh, go ahead and cut them out. But I didn't see any damage, so I'm just going to go for it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So what do you want to do next?
I want to put our other tire back on.
No, it's winter, and I certainly don't want to drive around
that one.
with that thing. All right, so we'll turn the camera off. We'll do it all again. Until then, we'll see you next time.
See you next time. And as always, if you feel that this video is of use to you, if you like it, please feel free to like and subscribe and drop us a line. Let us know what you think.
Thanks a lot.
Till next time.